Welcome to your live African safari. It's still very, very dark out here in the Mara Triangle in Kenya, but luckily we've had the North Clan of hyenas, which you've met before on one of our extravaganza episodes. Remember, this is extravaganza safari episode number 4 today. Isn't that wonderful? But it is absolutely freezing cold out here. It's one of the coldest, chilliest nights I've spent out in the Mara. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and I say this every morning. Very excited to have you on board the largest safari vehicle in the entire world. This is so cool. Now, they're very curious. They're just coming around the car. And for those of you who haven't joined us on a safari extravaganza before, we're in infrared at the moment, so that's why it might look a little bit strange. We've got these special lights that we can use to view the animals without putting any harsh artificial lights on them. And as soon as the sun decides to poke its head above the Mara River, we shall be taking the infrared off and everything will be in color. How great is that going to be? And they're very curious coming around the car. But it isn't just me out here taking you on a live safari. I'm going to send you down across to South Africa to the Sabi Sand, where you will meet your host, Mr. James Henry.
Good evening and welcome to Africa for the 4th of our 5 live safaris together. My name is James Henry, and above me the sky is pinkening as the sun makes its inexorable march towards the eastern horizon. We are coming to you live from the boundless savannas of the Masai Mara in Kenya and the rolling woodlands of the Sabi Sands here in South Africa. Now, yesterday we had cheetahs chasing their tails, we had lions breakfasting on buffalo, and we had elephants high on the joy of the marula season. Who knows what the world's most magnificent continent is going to throw up for us today. Now, for many people, watching the sunrise in Africa in the flesh would be top of their bucket lists. Well, if you play safari bingo with us, you and your best pal could be jetting out to either Kenya or South Africa to do just that with Nat Geo Journeys. All you need to do is go to natgeo.com/safari live and learn how to play Safari Bingo. I will announce the winner at the end of tomorrow night's show. So that's natgeo.com/safari live. Now, we don't only want you to look for fruit and listen out for silly words. We'd like to have your questions and comments too. And you can send those to us using the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. And the first thing I'd like to know from you today, in just one word, is how you think the African dawn smells. To me, it is one of the most comforting smells in all the world. We have many teams out today, all of them searching for the inspiring wildlife that this continent has. One of those is the great bear/buffalo-like figure of Tristan Dix, who is looking for our main character, Tundi, and her beautiful little cub.
Well, we are, James. So we are sitting here in the dark, just waiting to see if we can get a glimpse. We had a very, very brief visual of the little tail of Tundi going into this deep thicket, and so we're hoping that she's going to come out again, because it's an impenetrable fortress, and I wonder if she hasn't stashed the cub there. Now, as James mentioned, my name is Tristan Dix, and well, we are in this safari, and hopefully we're going to get some sort of sign of this female and her little cub. They are the cutest little pair together, and hopefully she's going to lead it out and we're going to get to a situation where we're going to see it. But like I was saying, you can see it is very dense in there. She went into those little treed areas, and there's no way to kind of get through all of those thickets, and that's why she's chosen the spot, because of the threats of all of what's going on around her. There's hyenas, there's lions, there's other leopards. She needs to think very carefully about where she puts the cub, and so she'll choose spots like this where there's a little undulating terrain and thick, dense areas where they are able to go in and hide that little cub. Now, I was just mentioning that hyenas are a bit of a threat to a leopard, but that's not all that a hyena is. There are also some very special things about hyenas, so let's take a look.
Massive clans of hyena pepper the Mara floor. The open plains and variety of game allow them to thrive here. In these numbers, they battle over food and territory. The cost for losing the fight varies from death to exile. lone hyenas have a harder time catching a meal. But together, they can take on even the most ferocious of big cats. Although, it doesn't always work out the way they hope. In the woodlands of the Kruger, smaller clans keep a lower profile. Their intimate lives center on the den, where cherished new cubs are nurtured and protected. Here, in the land of leopards, hyenas rely on the strength of their jaws and their resourcefulness. For hyenas in both the Mara and Kruger, food discarded by others is a treasured find. The major difference between them is how many mouths they have to feed.
Welcome back to your live African safari. Wasn't that incredible, watching all those hyenas roam around and to see them in their different, oh my goodness, I can't even speak this morning, habitats. Now we've got one very curious hyena, an older cub, that keeps coming around the car, and you may be able to see it. Here it is. This is a very naughty hyena that we've got here. Look how fluffy it is. Now, earlier I was telling you how chilly it is out here in the Mara. I think Jamie and Brent are probably feeling the cold on the other side. Now, this hyena is very, very fluffy. It's got all that nice fur to keep it warm. However, I don't have all that fur to keep me warm. I've got my shuka wrapped around myself today to keep me warm. You should, yes, that should be ringing a bell. Hopefully you're all frantically searching through your cards now to check something off. Well, that's the plan anyways. Now, even though hyenas are a big threat, of course, to a lot of the predators out here, these young cubs at this den all by themselves could also potentially be under threat. We've been hearing lions roaring in the distance all night long, so they too have to be very careful when there's no adults around. But what I am going to do is send you straight across the Mara River to Miss Jamie Patterson to see how her morning is faring.
Our morning is faring amazingly, although I think that Malaika is quite grateful that none of those hyenas are hanging around her now. And just a few moments ago, oh, she's up. She's looking about. I was about to say to you that I can actually see her twitching in her sleep. She was obviously having dreams, perhaps even dreaming about hyenas chasing her, because during the course of the night, she hunted successfully twice, and twice she lost her meal to scavenging hyenas, so it hasn't been a good evening for Malaika. A very good evening to all of you. My name is Jamie, and over the course of the Safari Live series, we've been following this amazing female cheetah, Malaika, and now we know that this morning is going to be the morning. I've just got that feeling that she's going to show you exactly what it is she can do. The gold medal sprinters of the animal kingdom, and Malaika is definitely going to be wanting some breakfast. Yesterday morning on our live safari, she took us hunting almost immediately at the very start of the safari. So as the dawn begins to break and we are able to move in color, I think that the little rise in temperature will inspire Malaika and her two sons to start their morning business. A fantastic opportunity to remind you, questions on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter is how you can get hold of us. And now we sit and wait and see. These cheetah are not deeply asleep. Their heads are up. They keep looking around. She's probably just resting and recovering after the night that she had. Now, unfortunately, cheetah are really the underdogs out here. Well, the undercats. They are the smallest of the big cats that we could see, and they are outmatched in terms of physical size and strength by almost every other predator. And as a result, even though they have the highest hunting success rate, they are the ones that lose their kills most frequently. There we go. One of her boys is getting up, having a little bit of a stretch. Possibly the cheetah equivalent of just flipping the pillow over onto the cold side. And there we go, he's going to pop himself back down again and curling up once more. Wrapped up in that true cat-like, with that true cat-like ability to actually feel really, really comfortable no matter where they happen to find themselves. Now remember, in a few short minutes, the Masai Mara will be light enough for us to colour. South Africa's a little way ahead of us. Let's go and join James Henry to view the sunrise from a fantastic perspective.
Well, we don't have the sun coming up just yet, but it has turned the horizon a lovely little molten gold colour. Now, Ria, you said you thought the African dawn would smell refreshing. That it does. Walter, you said delicious. That's the best word I've heard. And Peggy, you said that it smells promising. Well, it certainly feels promising. Whether it smells promising or not, I'm not really sure. It is the most gorgeous morning out here, and it's the kind of morning where Brent Leo Smith would be wearing a shukka, I imagine. I'm just going to wink at you quickly. Shukka, get it? Yes, that's a traditional Maasai tablecloth or toga, basically. Now over here, we've got some beautiful hippos down in the water. Most of them will have spent their entire nights out avoiding the lions that are being searched for by the teams. Not so much the leopards. That, of course, there's a leopard. There's a leopard. Leopard over there. Focus over there. Just down through the woodland there. No, you don't. It's there. It's just walk through there. We need to move and get in there quickly and see if we can find a leopard. It looks like a young male leopard, everybody. We'll try and get in there. Sorry, we're not really set up for great speeding move. Oh, you got him, Fergus. You genius. Well done. How fantastic is that? I'm sure that leopard's on the hunt. Let's see if we can go and find her. No colour, please. Hang on. Okay, no, we do want to be an IR now. Okay. Eh? We're live. Right. Okay. We're live with the internet, I'm assuming. Okay, everybody. Oh, very, very difficult. They're fine, Kirst. Sorry, I just had to change comms to the main vehicle comms. Vaguely. Oh, man. We can't get in here. This is hopeless. Hopeless. So he went up in here, eh? Straight through here. Must have been standing here all along. Everybody, I don't know if on the internet, I'm not sure if you managed to get a view of that leopard walking through these bushes. Sure, you got him. There he is. Yes, the broom's on the bonnet for a reason, my dear. Is that really, do we have to worry about that now? All the things we need to worry about? There's nowhere else to put it, I'm afraid. That's Tingana. I think so. 'Or Hosanna. 40 seconds back to TV, everybody. Frenetic stuff. You got him with a drone? No, too dark. This leopard's going to be gone. He's going to go onto Little Gowrie. Yeah, hold on, everyone. There he is. Welcome back, everyone, to your live safari here from the Sabi Sands in South Africa, the Masai Mara in Kenya. We have caught up with our leopard, and he seems to be on the hunt. I'm just trying to identify which one he is. He's just walking through the woodland there. He could easily be Tingana, the father of Tandi's cub, and now protector from the raiding Hukamuri male who's just come into this area. If you are just joining us for the first time, our leopard story is fantastic. We have an interloping male leopard who is a real threat to Tandi's little cub. And this could be the father, although it's difficult to tell in this light. The father is a 12-year-old male called Tingana. And I think this is him. Now, I'm sorry, there was a technical glitch when I announced the Safari Bingo part of our show. So please do remember that you can play Safari Bingo. You can win a magical trip for two to South Africa or Kenya with Nat Geo Journeys. All you do is go to natgeo.com/Safari Live, learn how to play. I'll announce the winner at the end of tomorrow night's show. It's natgeo.com/Safari Live. We've got him from the sky cam now, which is fantastic. All right, we're going to follow this male leopard up towards where Tandi and her cub were last seen. Let's go across to Stefan Winterboer, half Conan the Barbarian, on foot. I don't know what he's searching for.
I think it's pretty awesome that we've got this big male leopard with James. I mean, it adds just such a nice spice. We've been looking for him for the last 4 days, and I'm glad that we finally got to show it to you. Now, my name is Stefan Winterboer, for those of you meeting me for the first time, and we are on foot out here at Djuma Private Game Reserve, walking around live with everybody else as well. And the first thing that I've got to show you today is some wildebeest. There's one right there. That is one of Mother Nature's prime sort of long distance runners. And you know, I'm going to add in a Winter Olympics sort of fact and figure at the moment, because I mean, with it just around the corner, it's actually quite exciting. The Winter Olympics are actually one of the first sporting events that I ever remember watching as a child, and I was just enthralled by it. Now, one of the feats of human nature, of course, is the cross-country skiing that puts humans outside for a 50-kilometer race that they finish in around about 5 hours, and at some of the most unbelievably cold temperatures. Now, because I've never touched snow in my entire life, I've just seen it from airplanes and on top of mountains and things. I can't really talk about how cold it is, but I can talk about how far these guys walk. So those cross-country skiers, they do about 50 kilometers in a day. These wildebeest can walk up to 100 kilometers in a day when they do their migrations. Isn't that awesome? All right, we're going to carry on and look for something that wants to eat these wildebeest, hopefully with some tawny skin and some claws and teeth. And I know that Scott is doing exactly the same thing. So see you just now. All right, we're not going to be going to Scott. He's in a place where signal doesn't happen, which happens from time to time. We're coming to you live from the African bush, and of course that happens from time to time. Trees get in the way and things. So we are going to be sending you 4 countries north to Taylor.
So we're still sitting here with the hyenas in the Masai Mara, watching them play around. And I think they're getting quite excited now, hoping that one of the adults will return. Now, not only have we been hearing roars of lions in the distance, I don't know which pride it could be, maybe the Paradise Pride, perhaps the Musketeers, maybe Scar is around, but I've been also hearing lots and lots of whooping from the hyenas. Quite a bit of it. There was a little bit of commotion, but I've decided to just hang around here for a little bit longer because the sky is just starting to change colour, and typically what will happen is that the females will come back, and who knows, maybe we get to meet Waffles, who's the matriarch of this clan. Now, Mike, you're wondering what family are hyena in? They're in a family called Hyenidae, and I reckon why you're asking that, Mike, is are you trying to figure out if a hyena is related to a cat or a dog, perhaps? Well, the answer to that is actually neither of them. They're in a completely own, family of their own, as you can imagine. So there they are, just like that. But they're strange-looking things. Do you know what they remind me of? They remind me of African bears, if you could get something like that, with a big rounded ears and quite a big nose too. And their curiosity is amazing. And I really hope that you're falling in love with these very, very cute animals. What's calling? Sounds like there's a couple of birds alarming. You can see all the little ones. Yeah, their ears are pricked up. They're also listening. I wonder what's coming through this way. Could be some hyenas. Could be maybe some jackals ruffling the feathers of those birds. Or maybe lions. Even a leopard. You know what? The opportunities are endless out here. In Kenya, you can honestly see anything. But I really, really would love it if Waffles came back. But I'm going to very quickly send you down to South Africa with James to have a quick view of Mr. T.
We've got just a few more spots of Tingana, the male leopard now. He's going into some tremendously thick bush, as you can see, and I don't think we're going to be able to follow him through there, but he is heading towards where Thandi and her cub were last seen, his consort and his latest offspring. What a picture that is of a male leopard who we thought was down and out. He's come back and he's looking to protect his youngster from the raiding Hukamuri male. And there you can see him from the sky cam. Excellent work being done there by the supreme French Gabonese Air Force pilot Sébastien Rombi. Just spectacular stuff. So Tristan is not far from us here. He is sitting probably about a quarter of a mile away at the other side of a clearing here. All right, Tingana has a history in this area. It's a long one. He is known as the Duke of Djuma, and, well, his life has been one of great success hunting and mating. Have a look.
These female and cub have just arrived. They've just walked in, and look, she's coming right up to him, and you can see, listen to the sounds. You see how she's showing submissive behavior, just kind of showing him, I'm not a threat to you, don't worry about me, I'm just here to say hello and just affirm that you are the dominant male. Here comes the little cub now as well. Let's see what this brings about. Tingana is a little growly, I think but look at that, There we go. There's the screenshots if you want them. That is ridiculous. 3 leopards together. Cub, mom, father. This is as epic as it's ever gonna get. Well, welcome back alive. Isn't that just the most amazing thing to see? Tingana is seriously one of my favorite leopards. He is an amazing individual, and he is the father of this little cub that we are trying to find with Thandi in this area. Now, we still haven't seen any more signs of them. They went into this little drainage and into this little thicket that's down below here, and you can see it's wall-to-wall vegetation. So what we're trying to do is hope that one of them comes out and just kind of gives us some sort of a glimpse. The other good news is that Tingana, who James had just now, is hopefully coming in this direction, and so maybe we're going to get a family reunion, which will just be absolutely spectacular. So while we sit and we be patient and hope that they come out, let's send you back across to Scott, who I think is on the tracks of a much larger predator.
We certainly are. We're following the tracks of a pride of lion, and we've actually just heard them roar. Now, it's difficult to tell how far away they are from us. My name's Scott Dyson. I'm so excited to have you guys with us. And what an incredible start it is to our bushwalk. We came across some tracks about 10 minutes ago. We were just trying to work out which way they headed, and we just heard the low rumbling, ooh, ooh, call of the lions. And we feel that they're not too far away from us. So hopefully in the next few minutes we may get a visual of them. So we just need to try and remain composed, though it's so exciting following up on lions. But if we startle them and give them a fright, they could either run away or charge us. So we need to just try and keep cool as we continue on following up where we heard those calls. Okay, well, it sounds like Brent's already found some lions all the way up in the Masai Mara. So it's getting thick here. Okay, like I said, Brent's got some lions up in the Mara. Why don't you go see what they're up to?
Hello, welcome back. Oh, welcome. Good morning, my name's Brent Smith. I've got Craig on camera, and we've been following our lions all night. But unfortunately, our lions went into a lugger. What a lugger is a river that is really, really steep and impassable. So we've decided we're going to have to go look for something else. But that's the way it goes on a live safari. This is 100% live. And hopefully we're going to have a little bit of luck. You might have noticed that in South Africa we're in color, but here in the Masai Mara we're still in infrared. So it's going to get light in about half an hour or so, and you'll be able to see a magnificent dawn over the Mara. Now remember, if you want to send us any questions, hashtag Safari Live, and on Twitter. I'd love to hear from you. And also, one of our own, Ralph Kirsten, will be helping answer all the tweets that don't get through to us on the vehicles. So hopefully the next time you see us, we're going to be with something spectacular. Let's go to the spectacular Malaika.
The spectacular Malaika and her 2 boys. I have no doubt that Brent is going to find you something exciting over the course of this live safari. But we are fortunate enough to already be sitting with a very special animal indeed. This is my absolute favorite time to be out in the morning. It's just starting to get light, not quite light enough for us to move into color, but everything smells fresh and clean, a little bit like the smell of the earth after rain, because everything's really damp out here. Now, Kim, while we sit with our sleepy cheetah, they're giving us an opportunity to answer your question. Are cheetah bad at defending their kills? I don't know if I would say that they're bad. They're just not equipped. They're not designed to defend their kills. Cheetah are built for speed, as of course we've spoken about in the past. Everything about them is designed to be streamlined and fast, not strong and powerful like the leopards or the lions or even the hyenas like the ones you saw with Taylor. Though their jaws are not powerful enough to to bite. And of course, you've got the added factor that any kind of injury out here could potentially be fatal for a predator because they won't be able to hunt for themselves. And that is especially applicable for a female such as Malaika. She lives her entire life on her own, unless, as is what's happening now, she's busy raising cubs. And not only is she responsible for herself, but she is responsible for the two youngsters. Now, threats come in all shapes and sizes out here. I've spent a vast amount of time with Malaika, and something that took me completely by surprise was a moment we shared with her and, believe it or not, some buffalo. This is crazy. Malaika's killed an impala. That's the impala carcass over there. I thought for 1 second that the cheetah was still trying to protect her carcass. I actually thought the buffalo had caught her. Malaika's just caught this impala moments ago. She was busy feeding with her two boys, and now the buffalo have come in and chased her away. There we go. There's the cheetah retreating. What a spectacular insight into animal behavior.
Is incredible. Welcome back live, everybody, to the Mara Triangle, where we're still with the North Clan. Jamie, I've never ever been fortunate enough to see such an incredible, example of misplaced aggression. How crazy was that buffalo thought that the impala was actually one of the cheetah? So it just goes to show you really have to be careful. You don't want to get yourself caught in a situation like that. Now, our hyenas, and they're looking a bit on the chilly side again. Look how they're all huddling up to one another. And if they are too cold, what they can do is actually go underneath the ground, because there's some big burrows that are dug there. So we call this a den site, essentially. Ding, 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 ding. Again, you should be all excited because you've got your second word if you're participating in bingo. And that is den. Now, Puck, you're wondering if anything would eat a hyena. Funny enough, other hyenas will eat another hyena. They have shown cannibalistic tendencies all over Africa. It's not a very nice thing. I've never seen it firsthand where it's happened, but I have seen a lot of footage where lions have killed hyenas, and the next day, and this was actually some footage from down in the Sabi sand, and hyenas came back and then they finished off one of the clan members. Now, it sounds quite devastating, doesn't it? But hyenas are really incredible, is that they don't waste anything. They will eat every last bit. So they, of course, will feed on antelope species. They will hunt themselves. They, of course, are big scavengers. But if one of their succumb to their death, one of their own, they will eat it. But predators aren't always on top, as you can imagine. Sometimes the tables turn and the prey fights back. So take a look at this.
Danger is ever present in the wilds of Africa. For the hunted, the best form of defense is normally to flee. Predators target the young and old. For one species to live, another must die. But sometimes, the ones being hunted can turn the tables. Especially when a mother sees its baby under attack. For the courageous few who choose to stand and fight, survival is both the ultimate reward and the next challenge.
Well, I'm sure you enjoyed those epic scenes. Welcome back live. Definitely one of my favorite highlights was seeing that little jackal get chased away by the Thompson's gazelle mother. Incredible to see how ferociously she tried to defend her young, and she succeeded. Now, that was a lion track you're looking at. We're getting closer to them. Sadly, this is an area with lots of deep gullies, and I fear that these lions may have slipped into an area where we don't have signal. But we're going to keep following up on the trail of them as we go, and they're moving up and down all over this area. It's a big pride. We think it's the Nkuhuma pride. I've seen lots of little tracks of some cubs. It's about 10 lions in total, and they could be anywhere, like I say, in these areas. It's quite thick here, so we're just going to take our time and find them shortly. Not too sure why. They usually kind of move a little bit more decisively. Maybe there's other lions in the area. I know that Tristan and Noel did hear some other lions roaring, another pride, possibly the Styx pride. No, not a track there. It looks like the ground's getting quite hard here, making our lives a bit tricky. And like I said, sadly, this area we're in, it's got lots of low-lying areas where if the lions are in one of these little ravines, it means we're not going to actually be able to get any picture. I think we actually need to go back. There's no more tracks coming out here. So, let's head back there. Okay, well, guys, we're going to continue doing our best to try and work out where the Nkuhuma pride has gone and send you across to Tristan, who's doing his best to find some leopard for you.
Well, we are trying our very best to find these leopards, and well, Tingana and Tandy and Cub are all being quite elusive at this stage, and well, it's par for the course over the last few days, but we'll get them eventually. We just have to have a bit of patience and hope, and hopefully they'll come out. We're back in the spot where I had a brief sighting of Tandy. It's a very similar area to yesterday, and so I'm hoping that they'll just kind of pop out on the road somewhere and we'll be lucky enough to see them. That's the idea anyway. So somewhere in that tangled mess of branches and leaves and various other things lies a leopard, hopefully. Well, that's the idea anyway. If it is still there, she might have obviously slinked off through this thicket as well, and we might be sort of in the wrong area. So I'm just going to go up and down and patrol in this area and just see if we get nice and lucky, and hopefully something does pop out for us somewhere along the lines. What I'm also hoping for is maybe if Tingana is still moving and heading in this direction, that the Tandy and the cub come out and they meet each other somewhere where it's a little bit nice and open, and we can actually then see the interaction between the two of them. So that's going to be very cool. Well, three of them actually, should I say. But I just want to kind of keep going a little bit further forward. Unfortunately, what happens here is it gets very dense and then it opens out again on the other side. So I just want to quickly check on the other side and see if I can get a better view of what's going on. Let's have a look here. So there's a little gap down there where no, can't see anything there. So we're going to just carry on forward a little bit. You never know, maybe she's going to move down towards Twin Dams and cross over into the Milawati. It would be nice if that was the case, because it would help us certainly get a better view of her and certainly be a lot more open than what it is right here. But knowing Tandy, I think she's going to try and use the thickest bush possible. Right, now while I try and look around and see what I can see in this thicket, let's send you to Noel, who's got a big pachyderm to show all of you.
I do. I've got a huge herd of elephants that we've come across here on the eastern side of Chitwa. I have counted at least 40 elephants so far. We have that one that just came straight across the car here. I'm Noelle Funmoden. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're enjoying all the excitement we've had so far. It's been really great. Now, just up ahead is the bulk of the breeding herd. And you can see there's an old female that's just there in front, and there's been a lot of sounds coming out from everybody. There's been a lot of tummy rumbling and a lot of interaction with this part of the herd. We just have a little bit of something that's on the lens. We're just going to clean it off properly. I'm just going to hand Senzo the lapi. What else do we call that thing? Lens cleaner, I guess we'll call it. There we go. Now we can see all the little ones are stuck in the middle with the females there. As there was all of the interaction. Oh, they're going to come right towards the car, everybody. Let's listen. Curse is saying in my ear, it looks like it's sweeping the road. He's playing curling, like in those big games that are coming up. They're going to come right around the car, everybody. This is so fantastic. Can we hear them? So beautiful. We have a cheeky little one that's going to come up and greet us. Welcome back live, everybody. I have a breeding herd of elephants that's about to come around my vehicle. So I'm going to let everyone have a moment of silence to listen to this huge pachyderm come past me again live in South Africa in the Sabi Sands. I'm Noelle Van Moden, and as you can see, this is a beautiful herd of elephants. They are watching me, they're listening to me. I'm going to duck my hat down, and they're not perturbed by us at all. They're feeding quietly. Dennis, you want to know how safe is it for us out here? Dennis, if you notice that these elephants have very relaxed ears, they're not stiff, the trunks are relaxed. If you could see the tails, you'd see the tails are relaxed as well. We are perfectly safe. They're just curious. I think everybody, let's do a one-word tweet to describe this amazing scenario where we have everybody here right in front of me. Hashtag Safari Live. You've got my hat here. Sorry, so they're so close that it's really hard for me to stay out of Senzo's frame. But I mean, I could literally reach out and touch this female here if I extended my arm. And all the little babies are now coming in front here. Oh, don't forget, one-word tweet, everybody, hashtag Safari Live. Let me know what you're thinking and feeling about this beautiful herd. I'm going to be quiet for a bit so you can hear. Vera, you're saying this is scary. Vera, this is anything but scary, my friend. If you could feel the emotion that's coming off this side, I have the biggest grin on my face. I've been guiding for over a decade, and I actually have little tears forming in my eyes because this is just so special. They came up to greet us, to basically check us out. No animosity, no aggression, nothing. And then very slowly took all of their babies right around us and then carried on. Absolutely incredible. We are going to head up to Taylor McCurdy, who is busy with another amazing sighting with some hyenas, which would make these elephants go a little bit out of control, but let's head on up to her.
Noelle, I'm absolutely so jealous of that interaction you're having with the elephants. That's my favorite thing in the whole world. But now our patience is finally paid off up here in the Mara. One of the adults is returning to the den, and I don't think the youngsters have yet to realize that they're on their way. Look, I think two of them have come. Oh, there we go. Have you seen someone? Is someone coming back? Let's see who it is. I don't know if it's a male or a female yet. Ooh, they're looking a little bit nervous. See how they're going into the den now? I wonder if it's a foreign hyena. I think the little ones are a bit unsure too. Well, I'm making sure they get down in that den just in case. Hello? It looks like one of the females. Everybody's very wary though. Look at them, ears pricked. Oh, I'm so excited to see what happens. Hopefully they're going to come running out. But JP, you've just asked, why are there so many hyena in this area? It's perfect habitat for them. Nice open grasslands. There's a lot of animals around, a lot of game for them to feed on. There's also big prides of lions sort of just surrounding them, and they kind of live, not in harmony, but they will live together. So it's just really the perfect habitat for them. That's really all, JP. So yeah. But I'm a bit confused as to what's going on. Why everybody's not rushing over. Here we go. Hang on. Look at that submissive behavior from that youngster. And the greeting ceremony of hyenas is normally quite interesting. You'll see their genitalia becomes quite stiff as they get very excited. Normally there's a lot of chatter. Who are you, girl? Why is no one so excited to see you? Very quiet. Everybody's hidden away from her. Now, if this was Waffles, the matriarch of the clan, they would have been running out with absolute excitement and making all sorts of laughing noises. There we go. Now they look like they're getting a bit more comfortable. I don't think that these are her cubs, though. Maybe that's why she's not too interested in them either, because unlike prides and lions that are very social, hyenas don't allo-suckle, so they don't suckle anybody else's cubs unless it's their own. Oh, maybe, you know what she could be doing? There is one female that's got really tiny little cubs that are almost black in colour. Maybe she's trying to find out which burrow they're in, so she can fetch them and then suckle them. Oh, come on, little hyenas, all come out. Well, I'm glad that at least one of the adults have decided to come back. But very quiet. Desperate for a little bit of attention. Right, well, the sun is starting to rise now. I can see the colours in the skies changing. Brent has got a beautiful view of an elephant.
Isn't this just spectacular? Look at that sky. Now, you might hear a big and that is a balloon flying behind me, but isn't this just one of the most magnificent sights? The sun is about to pop out over the eastern horizon, and we've got a Mara giant, probably about a 30-year-old elephant bull, out on his own, away from the commotion of the breeding herds, like Noel had all the way back in South Africa. The bulls will meander far and wide when they are not looking for love, and tend to prefer to stay on their own. And he is a very big boy. Now remember, this is 100% live from the Masai Mara in Kenya. Now that big you're hearing is a balloon, and we're going to send you up into one with Steve right now.
Good morning and welcome to the air and to Skyship's Balloon Safaris. My name is Steve Falconbridge, joined by Archie on the camera. And we are at the mercy of the wind, which at the moment is very gentle as we slowly cruise over this breeding herd of buffalo that at the moment are just casually waking up and having their morning breakfast. Isn't that a glorious sight? They don't seem too perturbed by the sound the balloon is making. And there's a little Thompson's gazelle in the foreground. But you can see the outer rim of buffalo there having a little look with their heads up. What is that big thing in the sky? They must be wondering. Is it a threat? The Tommies are moving off a little bit. The balloon does make a little bit of noise, as Brent has just mentioned, and it does often lead to just a slight little bit of disturbance. But it moves on quite quickly, and so the animals tend to kind of ignore it after a while. Charles would like to know, when are animals most active and productive? Well, it depends on the animal, really. The buffalo will feed pretty much throughout the day, but generally favoring the cooler times. And then they'll bed down when it's really, really hot and ruminate. Most of your sort of ruminating animals will do something like that to avoid the heat of the day, whereas elephants will be active pretty much the entire day and night feeding to try and sustain their 20 hours of feeding. It takes an enormous amount of time. So we're going to continue on this wonderful, glorious adventure in the sky. We're going to go all the way down to South Africa to my friend Steph, who's got something that looks like a stick.
That must be pretty jarring for you to come from Kenya all the way up north, from up above in the balloon, and then all the way down to me sitting in this sea of grass that we have behind us. Now, we've got something quite unusual to show you at the moment. It's a living grass stalk. It's a stick insect. And this stick insect is doing something that I've never seen before. It's eating its own exoskeleton. So just like all other insects, when this stick insect gets too big for its body, it splits the old skin and it basically comes out as a bigger version of itself with a new skin that it enables some growth. But in this particular case, this stick insect has started to eat its own exoskeleton. Isn't that just amazing? It's something that I've never seen before. In almost 20 years of guiding, I've never seen this before. Now, Randy, you'd like to know if there's been any interesting insects around at the moment, and this is precisely one of those very interesting insects. Camouflaged to look and behave exactly like a piece of grass. Wow, we've got a hyena busy making a whooping noise a couple of yards away from us. It's very difficult to hear at the moment for you, but just know that there's a hyena calling just off my left shoulder. Anyway, one of those things. Let's see what's happening. All right, that's woken me up. But another thing that's busy waking up at the moment are those cheetah that Jamie is with. Now, with a flick of a switch, we're going to be sending you 4 countries away again and all the way to Jamie and her cheetah.
We have something so special to show you, a really tender moment between Malaika and her 2 boys. But here's the special thing, and we're going to have to listen really, really hard to hear it. They're doing what none of the other big cats do, and that is purring. So if we listen really carefully over the sound of the birds, it's a deep, low vibration, just like your cats do at home. It's one of the things that makes cheetah so different to something like a lion or a leopard. They cannot roar, but they can purr. And they're purring it very, very low. And it's absolutely, I don't know, it's mind-boggling that we are allowed the access into their world, that we are able to see these really tender moments between a mother and her sons. She's in the middle there, that's Malaika in the middle, her 2 boys flanking her, massive, larger than she is now. And
now, Ronald and I are just getting into the spirit of the Winter Games about to take place. There we go, we're just doing a little bit of curling. I do apologise for that rather swift cut. No, Ronald, you're not being very good at that. You need to push it. Come, try again. I apologise for that rather swift cut away from the cheetah. Obviously, there are technical glitches involved with bringing a high-definition signal out of the wilderness. Ronald, you are useless at this game. Anyway, that explains why there was a broom on the front of the car. I was hoping Ronald might be slightly better at that, but of course in Africa, winter sports not really part of our makeup. Marvellous that we have had the hyena den. Yes, den, good. You know why I'm saying den in that fashion, as though I don't know really what to say. Den, use it. Excellent. I will announce the winner on Thursday after the show. Okay, now hippopotamus, like we have in the dam here. quite surprisingly, are one of the most dangerous animals in all of Africa. Now that is to human beings because they are so threatened. They have to have water. They are terrified of being in the sun, and they're terrified of being away from the sort of coolth and the protection of the water. So we're going to stay away from the water's edge here, and we're going to send you back up to the Masai Mara, where Stivovo has managed to find himself something quite spectacular from the balloon, something that the hippo would be scared of.
Done it 2 days in a row. We have got more lions from the air there at the right of the screen. There were 2 more just behind this tree. I'm terribly sorry. There we go. We do not have the control of the drone. We are not able to change the course of our venture, and we are flying back over 3 male lions. We only got visibility of 1 at the moment. Archie's doing a marvelous job keeping it steady, and he's lost interest. He gave us a little bit of a look before, and you can see his belly is still slightly full from buffalo that we had yesterday. There in the background is the aeroplane on Chitwa airstrip, and there were 2 more there left of the screen just next to the bush. You can just see the head of another one. That was marvelous. What a wonderful zoom we got there, Archie. So we managed to get visibility of 3 big male lions of that coalition Taylor had with you yesterday, and we are slowly moving past them. So from the balloon we are continuing, and we're going to show you something extremely special that was captured last year by Senzo and narrated by James.
That zebra is in some trouble now. This is unbelievable. To be seeing this from a balloon, crazy, crazy zebra. Get out of the water. Phew! Lions! Lions coming now from the other side. Oh my goodness. This is the Paradise Pride. We had no idea this was going to happen. That is a fully grown zebra. My heart is absolutely pounding. We've just watched a kill live from the balloon.
If you've ever thought you were having a bad day in the city, try having one in Africa, where there's lions and crocodiles. You're back live with us in the Mara Triangle, where we're still sitting with the very playful cubs of the North Clan. Now, you can see them running around chasing one another. They've even been ignoring that female, so I'm starting to think that perhaps that female that has arrived and is finally suckling her cubs is a very low-ranking female, and that's why there was no fuss upon her arrival. It's kind of a popularity contest out here with the hyenas. Look at this one. What are you playing? Duck, duck, goose. Running all the way to the car. Isn't this so cool? This is honestly some of the most amazing things to experience. Now, Megan... Sorry, the hyenas are running around. You were wondering, how do you tell the difference between a male and a female hyena? Megan, I have to be honest with you, I'm still learning. I find it particularly difficult to try and tell the differences because both male and females have what seem to be male genitalia, as you can imagine, but it's not. So, well, this is where we get down to business now. Females basically have a pseudopenis, and essentially what it is an extension of the clitoris, is what we're seeing, which makes birthing quite difficult for hyenas, and it's why the youngsters don't have a very high success rate, and it's also why first-time mother hyenas often don't make it. They die. It's quite a process. I've never seen hyenas giving birth. So the best way, well, I find, is if you find a female, and luckily when she walked around, that girl that just arrived, she showed she had big swollen mammary glands, and males don't have that. So for me, that's the easiest way. If they've got cubs and they are suckling, you can look for something like that. Otherwise, it's particularly difficult. The females are larger than the boys, though, so it takes a bit of practice. So Megan, all you've got to do is just keep watching, and well, we can kind of learn together as we go about. But I promise you right now, if you try and identify the first time around, you're probably going to get it wrong, and even the expert safari guides still get it wrong at times. So swollen mammary glands is probably the easiest, just to repeat that. Oh, careful. Now, something that you might not know about hyenas is that when these cubs are born, they already have a set of teeth. They've got a set of chompers. So they start biting and tearing at one another's ears from the get-go. And those are sharp little teeth. I mean, all of you know what it's like to have a puppy, or especially puppies when they want to play with you and they've got those needle-like teeth. Oh, you cringe. It hurts, and probably even shout ouch every now and then. But these cubs are pretty resilient. Actually, all little animals are fairly resilient. So taking a tumble, whether you're a young little leopard cub like Tandi's little cub, who hopefully will make an appearance, falls out the tree, or these young hyenas put a foot wrong and take a tumble, they just bounce back. Kind of like children. They do the same thing. But it's just amazing how they've completely ignored that female and are just focusing on one another now. And every time one of these young cubs gets too close to that female, she sort of snarls at them and snaps at them. She's not interested in one little bit, and she'll turn and give them a bit of a death stare too. But her 2 cubs, she's successfully raising at the moment 2 cubs, which was quite nice to see. They're happy because their tummies are nice and full. Well, I think we'll probably stay here for a little bit longer, as my extended family join me around the car. Scott is tracking down those Nkahuma lions. Let's go and see if he's any closer.
You wouldn't believe it, everyone, but just like Brent's lions, it seems like our lions are a bit camera shy this morning. They've disappeared into an area with no signal. But that doesn't matter. We're going to see if we can try and creep up on some other big and possibly dangerous game for you. We've heard some elephants. They sound like they're quite far. We just heard them trumpeting, so we're making our way into their area, and I'm hoping that we get to sneak up on them. Certainly one of the best animals to get your adrenaline pumping is snooping around a herd of elephants. Miss Annex, you'd like to know, how do the guides know where to go? Well, when you arrive in an area, it can be quite tricky working your way around, especially here in the Sabi Sands where it's very thick. Far easier up in the Mara because it's open and there's lots of big landmarks there. But you just kind of take time, have a map, and what really helps is once you have a sighting in an area like a leopard up a tree, you tend to remember that spot, you learn the road names, and then work forward from there. But a lot of us have been working in this area for many years, so we kind of know it like our own backyard. And on this very trail, I've got very happy memories of tracking down leopard and lion. Okay, good stuff. We've got quite a lot of ground to cover before we get to where we heard those elephants. So give us some time. Hopefully we'll find them shortly. And while we do this, we're going to send you back to Tristan for an update on how he's getting along.
Well, Scotty, if your lions are camera shy, well, so are my leopards, because they are not coming out at all. We're trying to find them, so I'm just driving along very slowly, trying to see if I can see any sign of Tingana that is moving towards where Tandi and the cub was this morning. And so we're trying just to drive nice and slow, scan around in the hope that he kind of pops out somewhere, or we hear an alarm call or a bird chirping or something that can indicate to us that he's around. So what we'll do is we'll drive a little bit, and then we'll start to kind of turn off and then listen. And so we're going to keep doing that, and hopefully some point soon there's going to be a leopard popping out in front of us.